all these wild theories that like I thought I knew where the story was gonna go and it went somewhere else.
There's no way that Sarah just did that.
Hi everyone, it's me. Ah! Is this a new thing now? I'm just gonna get a blanket thrown on me. I cannot believe that this book is in my hands right now. I'm kind of freaking out. So I did go to the midnight book release, and so I was, I guess, like one of the first people to get a copy because I got this right at midnight. Somehow I managed to sleep without reading any of it. I know I wanted a good night's rest before getting into it because I took 3 days off work. Like I have today, tomorrow, and the next day off work to read this book because I just need to focus on it. And so yeah, here we are. I also got this cool, fun bookmark. I want to put a clear, fair warning and disclaimer here. If you are watching this video, I'm going to assume that you have read Crescent City 1 and 2. Either you have read the books or you don't care if you are spoiled on those 2 books, because I will very likely just be openly talking about events that happen in those first 2 books. In terms of spoilers for House of Flame and Shadow, I am going to give like fair warning every time I'm about to like disclose a spoiler for this book, and I'm also going to very clearly mark them in the video chapters. So if you're kind of skimming through this video, I'm going to make it very easy for you to make sure you don't like happen to stumble across a spoilery part of this video. So this video is safe for you to watch. If you have not read this 3rd book, just make sure you skip ahead whenever I tell you to. We're gonna have a good time, okay? So before we get into reading, I just want to talk about maybe a couple things that I am hoping to get in this book or things I'm expecting. At this point, I feel like I've seen so many fan theories out there that I don't even know what's real and what's false and what's likely and not likely to happen anymore, because like the fan theories have just gone wild since the 2nd book came out. Like the whole like worlds combining with the crossover with the ACOTAR characters and like the entire inner circle appearing at the end of Crescent City 2, House of Sky and Breath. I am hoping, fingers crossed, that we will be including maybe some things or maybe some characters even from Throne of Glass in this book. Honestly, if any of those characters, if any single character from Throne of Glass shows up in this book, I'm going to scream. I'm not expecting any character from the other series to become a main character in this book, just because I know that they're still separate series and we are focusing on primarily like the Crescent City characters. I'm just very curious to see how far the crossover stuff will go. Also, like I know that Sarah J Maas is currently writing the next ACOTAR book, so I'm wondering like what order of events or like how time is happening between this book and the next ACOTAR book. Does this book take place before the next ACOTAR book? Like, is there a gap, or does it take place kind of simultaneously to the next ACOTAR book? I also don't even know if this is the last book in the series or not, because I know Crescent City originally was signed on to be a 3-book series, and as of right now, the 4th book has not been announced. So I'm kind of going into this blind and just wondering, like, is this the finale? Like, do I have to emotionally prepare myself for the ending of this? So if you are like up to date and in tune with Sarah J Maas and the whole world, you probably saw that a couple days before book release, she released the prologue and the first chapter of this book on her website, and I did read that. So I am going to just take you back in time right now and show you what happened on that day. Sarah J Maas just posted this on her story. The prologue and first chapter are finally here, posted on her website. And it's just like around lunchtime on a Thursday, and I'm just like trying to like get through the workday, and she posts this. Do I read it now? Do I wait for the book? Like, the book's gonna be here in like, what, 4 days? Or do I just read the prologue in the first chapter? And so I went to her website. I'm not gonna show you the words. The words start like below, like down there, but the literal book is just here. Okay, well, not the whole book, the prologue and the first chapter, but okay, no, you know what? I'm gonna have to read it. I'm not gonna be able to focus on anything else if I don't read this right now, so we're gonna read it. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I'm like almost crying already. I've only read the prologue. Why am I like tearing up? Oh my gosh. Okay. Prologue is done. We're on to chapter 1. Ugh. feel like maybe I shouldn't have done that because now I'm like, how am I gonna think of anything else until I get the rest of the book? Because now I just want to keep reading. The fact that the prologue brought me to tears and the first chapter gave me everything that I wanted it to give me, like being with these characters again, like all the characters, already making like all these connections between the worlds. We have this countdown that says to be continued on January 30th, 4 days, 9 hours, 40 minutes, 35 seconds. Yes, I was not well. I don't know how I was able to just like focus on life after reading the first chapter and then just like continue along with life without being able to read more. That happened, and now we have the whole book. So, is there even anything else to say? I don't think so. I think it's just time to start reading.
Say something that will make my day, 'cause these memories of her won't go away. They're haunting me so I can't sleep.
I just took a little break for lunch, so I thought this was a natural point to like update you on how I'm doing. I have read 164 pages. I'm up to chapter 16. And it's just like so funny to me because I feel like reading 160, like almost 170 pages in any other normal book would basically be like half the book. But with Crescent City, this is the little dent that I've made so far. I'm not feeling anything like extreme yet. I'm enjoying the experience. There's nothing that has like stood out. I'm not feeling like overly emotional about anything yet, although I did tear up in one little scene there. So far, it's not bad. It's good. It's fun. There are 2 storylines so far that I am really, really enjoying reading, and every time we flip back to those storylines, I get really excited. But there's definitely like one set of like POVs that like at the moment I'm just like not too invested in and not too interested in, but obviously that like group of characters is going to play a big part in what happens in the end, and it's gonna be important to learn what they're doing, what they're getting up to. Just knowing Sarah J Maas and the way she ties things together with different storylines coming together for like the ultimate finale or whatever you want to call it, the final battle at the end of her book. So I get like relieved, you know, or like excited when we flip back to the storylines that I am excited about. Those are my thoughts so far. I did also write down in my notes some live reactions to things that were happening, and these are going to be spoilery, so warning, House of Flame and Shadow spoilers coming up, so please take some time to skip forward to this time code on screen if you've not read the book and you don't want to be spoiled, because I'm going to be mentioning some like specific reactions to specific events. I've just been like writing live reactions in my notes app because I haven't been filming like every second that I've been reading, obviously, so I'm not going to catch every reaction I get. But the first thing I wrote down was crying for Rune. I just like seeing Rune being like hurt makes me so sad, and I can't wait for him hopefully to get out of his imprisoned situation, and Lydia better frickin' help him soon. Hunt, Rune, and Baxian being sassy is life. The worm with exclamation points. We haven't seen that thing since ACOTAR 1, and just bringing it back into this series is just, I don't know, something about it made me laugh. Shadows watching Hunt, I was like, what are these shadows? And we have found out now they were the princes from hell. Who is Hunt's father? Dusk Court and Haviland parallels. I'm so excited. Azriel and Bryce are for sure distant cousins and not mates. I feel like I have to write this down because I may be wrong. Nothing's been confirmed, but I've seen so many fan theories online from people saying that they think Azriel and Bryce are mates, and I'm like, there's no way. Like, there's just no way. Apart from the fact that they have no chemistry, Bryce is the main character in Crescent City, and Azriel is one of the main characters in ACOTAR. Probably going to be a lot more significant in the next ACOTAR book. Like, he's gonna really fully become a main character in that series. There's no way. Like, even if there is this crossover happening now between the worlds, there's no way that Sarah would make the main character from one series mated with a main character from another series. Like, they're from 2 separate worlds. I don't think they're gonna be mates or lovers or anything. I think they're just like distantly related. I wrote down in capital letters, girl, you need to trust Nesta and Azriel. What are you doing? They are good people. The funny thing about this crossover is that like I trust Bryce as a character and I trust Nesta and Azriel's characters to be like good people, and so just seeing them interact with each other and like not trusting them is just kind of driving me a little nuts, because like obviously it makes sense, like Bryce doesn't trust these people, like she just met them, they're from a different world, they like literally put her in prison. And then Azriel and Nesta obviously don't trust her, she came from another world and she has these like mysterious powers I've never seen before. Obviously they're not going to trust each other. As the reader who like knows all these characters and they're like also dear to my heart, it's funny just seeing them like not trust each other. And then I wrote, take it off if you know, you know. It's 1 p.m, just had lunch. We're gonna keep reading now.
Why did she go? Whoa. Was I supposed to know that she'd leave? Was I tonight?
There's no way.
That she'd be the one. Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
Just tell me
Heart's
why
racing.
did she go?
For those of you who have read the book, I just read page 319. I'm just in shock right now. I didn't see that coming. That should not... I feel like I'm not even emotional right now because I'm just like in shock. Like I don't even know what to think. There's no way that Sarah just did that, but I just read the words. I feel like I need to take like a 5-minute break. I'm so confused.
With yours truly. Yeah. Our first one.
Good morning, day 2 of reading House of Flame and Shadow today. I actually got through a pretty good chunk of this book yesterday. I'm pretty impressed at how far I'm into it. 538 pages yesterday. And that's me like trying to read it, not slow, but like just read it carefully so I don't miss any details. So I'm really impressed with that. I'm definitely really invested in the story. I also feel like, I don't know, everyone just had all these fan theories, and I just feel like Sarah J Maas is taking us on a journey that is like not what we expected at all, but I'm also loving that. There is one character storyline though that I'm still at this point just like not really into, which is really surprising to me because it's a character that I really loved in the previous books, and I thought I would love their journey going forward, but that's the one like story arc that I'm just like not too interested in yet at the moment. But I don't know, we'll see. These things always change, but the rest of the book is just so fun for me at the moment. Yeah, so I did continue taking a couple of just notes as I was reading. By the way, spoiler warning, they're coming in 3 seconds, okay? So skip ahead if you don't want to see them. The first note I wrote down since the last time we left off was Rune's hand. I feel like Sarah really emphasized the torture on Rune while he was imprisoned, and it just like hurts so much. Why? Like, why do we have to hurt Rune so much? When Azriel made the comparison to Celine and Rhys's sister, I just gasped. That was the gasp moment that I filmed yesterday. I actually did get that live reaction. Why is the Harpy coming back stay dead? And I feel like that's just becoming kind of a theme in Crescent City. Like characters are dying and then coming back, which for some characters, on one hand, I'm glad they're coming back because I like them. But on the other hand, it's like when characters keep dying and coming back, their deaths don't mean as much. It's like when people keep dying, you're just like, okay, that's not for real. When Lydia, obviously, when she died, that was the moment where I was just like shocked and I filmed that. But I think a part of me just like knew she was coming back because she was such a big part of the story and she was getting such a big arc that I was like, there's no way that the hinge that Lydia is dying right now. So when she died, you could see me in that clip, I was like completely shocked, but I was also just like not really believing it. And I think that's why I didn't really cry at her death, because usually I cry when characters I like die, but I didn't feel tears because it's like, there's no way. I wrote down in capital letters, World Walkers, Throne of Glass, Maeve. This was when they were waking up Vesperus. She seemed very similar to Maeve, like just in her description
description, from the way she talked. She also kind of talked like Amryn, but when she used the term world walkers and said that like people in her world referred to these things as world walkers, I was like, that is Throne of Glass, is it not? Don't mermaids lose their tails after 24 hours without touching the water? Did Therian have access to natural water while he was with the Viper? I remember reading this in the earlier Crescent City books where the mer, they can't transition back to their mer forms. They like don't touch natural water within 24 hours. Am I remembering that incorrectly? I wrote Lydia? Question mark. That was the moment where she got shot. I want a sprite friend. I then wrote, whoops, I haven't updated this 200 pages, because from that point onwards I was just like reading, like flipping, reading, and not thinking about like updates or anything. I then started to wonder, who is feeding Syrinx? Do we all remember Syrinx, like the cute little chimera that is Bryce's pet and is just living in her condo? Maybe she set her free actually for him. I don't remember what happened with Syrinx, and like if Syrinx is okay and if someone's like taking care of him, her. Apollyon is Hunt's dad, and then wrote, oh never mind, but wait, I'm confused still. I'm at the moment still where like they haven't fully explained what they mean about like when Apollyon was like, hey son. So I'm gonna find that out soon, I think. And then I just wrote down, Rune and Lydia are my fave Midgard couple, and that is just the absolute truth. I think I might be able to finish this book today. We'll see how it goes. I'm on page 700 and something, like 720 or something like that, and things are starting to go crazy. It's getting to that point of the book, but I am breaking for lunch because it's 12:30, so let's do that. Give me a paw. Oh, you have great form.
Get some rest. I'm by your side.
We are getting to like the last 100 pages of this book where we know things are gonna go chaotic, knowing Sarah J. Maas. Guys, let's finish this book.
I know you've had.
Okay, spoilers coming up, so skip ahead. But Lydia, first of all, is a deer shifter, so like deer, stag, like that family of animals. She has secret fire power that just came out. Her son's name is Brannon. I'm getting Galathinius vibes. And they're like, what are you? When she like showed her like fire power, and she's like, it's an old bloodline. Oh my gosh.
All the blue skies ain't too gray. We're gonna be okay. Calm your soul. Hold my hand.
Janice,
Don't let
I just hear you sobbing. You're not finished it?
No,
I
almost.
understand.
Oh.
I know it hurts. It wasn't fair.
Finish the book plus the bonus chapter. I have recovered from my little breakdown. I'm just gonna take a few minutes to like gather my thoughts, and then I'll let you know my final thoughts about this book. We did it, and I have my thoughts gathered. Okay, so I'm gonna start first with my spoiler-free review, and then we're going to get into the spoiler version and then like build upon the thoughts that I say here in my spoiler-free part of the review. So we have finished this tome. It's so long. I think overall we had such a good journey in this book. As I mentioned, super long, but I think like it was done well. Sometimes a book is so long that you're just like, I'm over it, I'm not feeling this anymore, I'm getting bored. But I feel like we just accomplished so much. Like there was so much to do. Like there were so many places to go, so many different tasks and quests to go on that it didn't feel long because like things were happening so quickly. Like everything was so fast paced that even though it was long, things were always happening, you know, so it didn't get boring. And then I also just feel like when you spend so much time with these characters, the payoff is so good in the end. When you get these really emotional moments, we get things like being tied together and concluding things, like it just makes that feel a lot more impactful and emotional after you've spent so much time with these people. I think I mentioned this earlier,
spoiler? I don't know if I did. I can't even remember. The past 2 days have been a blur because I've just been reading, but the story was very unexpected for me, and I think for a lot of people that have been kind of like keeping up to date with fan theories and like things that might happen, I think what happens in here would be very surprising for you, because I don't know, I feel like I just got so caught up in fan theories that I had like expectations of where the story was gonna go, where things were gonna connect, all these wild theories that like I thought I knew where the story was gonna go and it went somewhere else. So if you are like really into those fan theories and know a lot about it, try and let those go, like let go of them before you dive into this book. Go in with an open mind and you're just gonna love the journey. But I feel like if you stick too hard to what you're expecting and what you want to happen, you may be taken off guard and it might take away from your experience. So just keep your mind open. I also think that Sarah did a really good job with like the whole crossover thing. I enjoyed the amount of crossover we got here, like without saying too much obviously, but I think she did a really good job with it, while also like making sure the impact to the crossover characters, making sure like things that happen here didn't affect their like long-term journeys too much. Obviously we're gonna get that development of those characters in their own series. Like this series is meant for Bryce, Hunt, Rune, Lydia, Therian, Ethan, like all those characters that we know and love in this series. This book is for them. It's their journey and that's who we're focusing on. And so I know a lot of people were expecting so much of the crossover to happen, like literally like characters from other series would start becoming main characters in this series, and that's not the case. They're here to support, they're here to guide. I'm not going to say too much about this anymore because it's going to start getting a little spoilery, but I will say I am happy with like the amount that we got of crossover in this book. After reading this as well, it just, to me, it seems like this is the conclusion of Crescent City. It seems like things are concluded. I can't see where we would go from here with our main characters. Crescent City 4 hasn't been announced, and I'm not sure at this point if there will be a Crescent City 4. I didn't really think this was gonna be the last book of the series, because usually when it is, the book gets advertised like as the finale, and that stirs up hype of like, oh my gosh, like it's the last one, everyone's gotta read it. This just seemed very conclusion-y to me. There are maybe a few things regarding the side characters that weren't fully wrapped up, but in terms of our main characters, I just feel like we're like done with them. Or are we gonna have like sort of an ACOTAR where like the first 3 books were dedicated to Rhys and Feyre, and then we moved on to focus on like the other characters? I'm not sure. It seems unlikely because all these books were already written in like multiple POVs. I really don't know. Overall though, yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I'm gonna give it a, you know what? I'm gonna give it a 5-star. I really thoroughly enjoyed this book. I feel like Sarah just blows my mind away every single time I read one of her books. I am going to get into my spoilery portion of the review now, so please skip to the end of the video if you don't want spoilers. First of all, I'm just gonna read you my live note reactions for this last part. First note was, I love Adis, OMG. Will the prison also become a lush island now that Bryce absorbed the power there? This is just something that came to my mind. Is this where the next ACOTAR book is going to go? I feel like very likely. Okay, I know where Syrinx is. Phew. Nesta is back BB, because at this point in the book I thought we were done with Prithian and I was like, oh sad, but you know what, I'll accept it. But no, Nesta came back and we got more of them. I think I love Nesta now. I finally get the hype. I'm one of those people that while I liked her arc in Silver Flames, I never became like a real Nesta fan, but I think honestly after reading this book I am truly a Nesta fan now. Like, she has gained my respect and love. I just wrote down a bunch of gibberish when the word came up, like WYRD, because any reference to the Throne of Glass world is going to just make me freak out. Connor, I'm crying. Wait, Lydia's son is named Brandon. She's a deer shifter and has firepower. It's giving Galathinius. That was real emotional, Jesus. Pegasus's, and then yeah, I just wrote, is this the end of CC? Everything seems concluded except for Therian, Ari, and Sathya, which was, did I miss like a chapter or something? Or like, did I just completely forget it the second after I read it? But I feel like Therian's storyline just ended with him going to the meat market looking for Sathya and then seeing Ari, and then Ari was like, you shouldn't be here, and he was like, what? And then it just like cliffhangered
I don't know, if you guys caught something else, let me know. As I mentioned in my spoiler-free portion of the review, there are definitely some questions that are unanswered. Number one, why was it so specifically mentioned when Bryce first like fell into Prythian in Sky and Breath that Amryn and Fury were so similar? Like, we never really got that answered. And then yeah, the whole thing with Therian, that was weird, but I don't know if that would justify like a whole other book, like maybe a novella about them, but like I can't see Sarah writing a whole book just to conclude Therian's storyline. I don't know, that was a little weird. This book honestly just made me so much more excited, like even more excited than I already was for the next ACOTAR book, because I could see where it's going to go. Maybe. Again, Sarah J Maas is very unpredictable, but I could just see the next book being really focused on maybe the resurrection of the Dusk Court now that Bryce has taken that star power, and now the prison's probably this like lush, beautiful green island mountain. Seeing how that goes with like a strong tie to Azriel. I think we're gonna have a big focus on Azriel in the next ACOTAR book because of his ties and his experience. Also, like Truth Teller and the Star Sword / Gwydion are now both in Prythian. Something's gonna happen now with that. I'm really excited, and I feel like I'm gonna have to wait a long time for that to happen, but here's where we leave off the Sarah J Maas universe. For now. I have been talking for a long time, so I'm gonna leave you guys here for now. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did read House of Flame and Shadow, let me know your thoughts, but please, just like as a favor, if you are gonna put any spoilery things in the comments, make sure you do like the spoiler alert ... and then your comment at the bottom, just so it hides under that like expand more section in the comment, you know what I mean? Hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please leave me a like and a comment. If you don't know what to comment down below, let me know if you've read this book or not and what you thought about it. If you like me, subscribe, do that bell thing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!